Connected up. Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 10 coming at you March 1st, 2020. Man, that's crazy stuff. March 1st today. Yesterday was Leap Day, February 29th. Hope you had a good day. Ultimately, guys, we're going to talk about a bunch of different things. Walking Dead, of course. A spoiler warning for all that. I'm going to do the last half hour, probably 30, at least 30 minutes, talking about the episode. So, first half, we'll talk about Season 10, Episode 9, general stuff overall, but last half hour, we'll cover the breakdown of the episode. I've seen it already, thought it was good, entertaining. You know, it has some stuff that's far-fetched, but that's The Walking Dead. It's funny when people, watch a review of mine or something, and they're like, if you don't like the show, why do you watch it? Who said I didn't like the show? I usually start off the reviews of, I thought the episode was good, but I thought the episode was great, but I thought this was good, but, something. I'm a realist. Just because I talk about things and I break it down and I discuss it doesn't mean I'm being hateful on the show. It's pretty funny when people think that. Just because you may be critical of something or you break it down and you see something about it and you talk about it, people ultimately think oh, well, why do you like the show? Why are you saying bad things about the show? There's no way you can like a show and say bad things about it. That's not how things work. But ultimately, Season 10, Episode 10 is very good. It's one of the better episodes I've seen, in a long, long time for the aspects of it. There's certain things that it's done that hasn't, I don't think, ever happened on the show, and it was pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff. Again, we'll talk about the spoilers in the last half hour of it. But Season 10, Episode 9, last week's episode. We had the live stream for it. Hopefully you guys checked it out. Do you have AMC Premiere stuff? Do you watch it there? Do you watch it on Sundays? Do you watch it live? Do you watch it, replay or some other way? I love watching the show. I watched it yesterday. And overall, Season 10, Episode 10 was very good. Now let's talk about Season 10, Episode 9 a little bit. Hopefully you guys have checked out the other videos. We have a bunch of different videos coming up all the time. Reviews, discussions, spoilers, theories, just a bunch of different things. And I love talking about The Walking Dead, and I love talking about what could happen, what could be the next thing. So Season 10, Episode 9, I didn't watch Talking Dead. If you saw my video that I posted earlier today, I uploaded it. It was talking about a theory with Connie and Magna being stuck in the cave. Will they get out? Will they both survive? Will one survive? Will one have to sacrifice themselves to get out, the other one get out? How are they going to get out? Because the way that exploded with the cave crumbling, the entrance that they made crumbling, it wasn't like an actual entrance. It's kind of crazy that they had multiple ways to get in, but they found their own way out. So ultimately, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to take some time before we get some resolution with it. If you saw my video that I posted earlier today, I talked about why I think Connie is in the cave because of her role on the Eternals, filming, being there, being gone for several months from potential episodes, because traditionally, each episode takes 10 days, 2 weeks, because they film Monday through Friday. Sometimes they film on the weekends, but very rarely, Monday through Friday. So if she's not in 10-10, 10-11, 10-12, 10-13, if she's not in 4 episodes, then it's going to be 4 times 2 weeks is 8 weeks. That's 2 months, at least, I don't know if they're filming the Eternals, the Marvel movie that's coming out in November, if they were filming around the same time or not, if they were filming, in Europe, or they were filming in Georgia, if they were filming there, where were they actually filming? How many scenes they're in? Because just because someone's in a movie doesn't mean they're the star of the movie. I was watching last night, my wife and I, we watched Infinity War again for the third time, and Denai Guerrera's in that. And anytime a Walking Dead star is in a movie, they're like, how can they do both? They're going to get killed off. How can they be on The Walking Dead and a show and a movie and a this? Well, Denai Guerrera is not really in that movie very long at all in Infinity War. And in Endgame, she's not either. She's in a couple of different spots, a couple of different times. I mean, there's some big action sequences, but they can film. She could probably film her parts in a month, 6 weeks, whatever. Film a little bit, come back, film a little bit, whatever. Because, she wears a wig on the show, so the hair could be different or whatever. But, that's here nor there because Michonne's going to be here. Last episode or episodes is coming up in the back half of season 10. So, me too, Tommy. Tommy Griffin Jr. he says, I'm going to miss Michonne. I am as well. Michonne, if you watched another recent episode video of mine, it's been said, put out there. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but they do that Michonne's episode was going to be season 10, episode 12. And they flipped that to season 10, episode 13 now. So episode 13 is episode 12, and episode 12 is episode 13. They did that before in season 7. I remember they did it was episode 2 and 3. They switched for season 7. And that was really the only time I remember them doing that. Because it wasn't like they filmed out of order. And I think they actually filmed it for that episode. Season 7, episode 2 was supposed to be when Daryl was in the sanctuary and he was caught. Season 7, episode 3 was when Morgan and Carol were at the kingdom, but they switched it because season 7, episode 1 was like so crazy and so emotional and so much. They wanted a lighter episode. Not sure why they did the Michonne episode, allegedly, potentially, possibly for season 10, episode 12, moved to episode 13. So that means that you could just flip those episodes and they have no connection with each other. Because I'm guessing Michonne's episode is going to be the last episode that we see of her. Maybe we get 2 episodes, but I doubt it. It's going to be 1 episode and it's going to be the Michonne story. Michonne, Virgil on a boat at the island. Maybe they're just already on the island. Maybe they encounter walkers. Maybe they encounter CRM, other people. It would be amazing if they encountered Jadis. Now, do you think that Michonne will be taken away? Will she run into anybody that went away? I doubt she's going to run into Rick. That's wishful thinking. But maybe Pollyanna McIntosh did film. We don't know. But we do know that Michonne is going to be in an episode coming up, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss what she brings to the show. I love Denai Guerrera. I think she's awesome. I met her a couple times. I think it's pretty cool that Denai Guerrera is doing big things outside of The Walking Dead after it, because it's one of those things where The Walking Dead is a nice stepping stone for another people after your character gets killed off. There's a lot of people that have done big things outside of The Walking Dead after their character was killed off. One of the biggest ones was Jon Bernthal. I mean, Jon Bernthal was Shane in season 1 and 2, got killed off in season 2, and then did big things with The Punisher, did other movies, doing other things, and, that was season 2. But, ultimately other things have come up for a lot of the other cast members. Some have been more successful than not, so we'll see. So Ed Morris writes in exclamation points in capital letters, Jadis is Virgil's wife. That's wishful thinking. That's a theory, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Where has Virgil been all this time at the junkyard and this? That would be kind of, far-fetched in my opinion. But again, the series of speculation, that is for sure. So Rob says, I hope Michonne's last episode is an extended one. So I hope so too. I hope it's longer than that. She deserves longer than that. If we're only getting 1 episode, it needs to be, 60 minutes long, maybe an hour and 20 total runtime. So it'd be 80 minutes on television, but 60 minutes of actual content. I hope so, because if you're going to have 1 episode of a character that's been in the show since season 2, episode 13, season 3, basically, she was a regular. I hope that they do justice for the character and they set things up, because ultimately the show is a good way to connect the other shows, the spinoffs, the movies, potentially that way too. It's the whole universe, which is good. So I hope so. But, again, I don't know how to say your name, but Noonton, the weird triangle thing letter too. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this letter. Say your name, but they say that only Connie dies. Is it true? Well, you know what they say, right? They say a lot of things, but who's they? Is it every channel? Is it the person? Is it certain channels that love to say confirmed when it's definitely not confirmed, but they that, but there's no way to tell. It's too early to tell now. There's a lot of people saying, I saw every episode and I know that Connie lives and Magna dies, or Magna's a walker and she's going to she's going to go attack Hilltop as a walker. I mean, really? I highly doubt that, but we'll see what happens. I didn't see the Walking Dead or Talking Dead for last week's episode, so I didn't watch it because one, it was on super late and I wasn't going to stay up for it. I wanted to, but I was like, whatever. And I didn't have a chance to watch it because I've been doing so much other crazy stuff right now. So I heard that she was not on In Memoriam. There was no In Memoriam for, Connie or Magna, so that means they're still alive. And if they're still alive, that means they're alive. So we should see them again for sure. Dream team, do you think Rosita will die in season 10? It's a possibility. You know, Rosita, Laura, Father Gabriel, like someone in the love quadrangle. Well, Sadiq died, so someone there, Father Gabriel, certain characters I had, you know, my predictions. Magna being one of them is definitely a character that I thought had a possibility and a probability of dying in season 10. I thought Lara would die in the first half of season 10, but, you know, things get moved around. Will Ezekiel, you know, live on? I guess so, because they had chances to kill all these characters off. And if they're still alive, then they're definitely still alive. So I'm excited to see what happens in the rest of the episodes. But remember, the last half hour of the live stream, go for about an hour, guys. So we'll talk about the spoilers, and I'll break down the episode for season 10, episode 10. But season 10, episode 9, I thought was very good. I thought it was a good episode for the you can call me Jim. Thank you, Jim. So the letters, I don't know how to say that thing, but Jim. But the season 10, episode 9 last week was pretty good. I thought it was a good start to the back half of season 10. Now, there's been better, you know, things for the season premieres, the back half of it, and some things have happened. You know, season 609 to me is the best episode ever of the Walking Dead series, and that's the premiere of it back. So season 6, episode 9, I think you're not going to get better than that. But certain episodes were better. Season 8, episode 9, some pretty big stuff happened. Now, what did really happen in season 10, episode 9 that really was captivating, interesting in there? We'll have to see what they started, because they love to have it as season 1, or the episode 1 of the season, and then episode 8 is like the bookends. You have episode 1 and episode 8, episode 9 and episode 16, and everything in between. Sometimes the first half of the season doesn't really connect that well with the second half of the season, and vice versa. But overall, I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be action-packed is what they're saying. And season 10, episode 10 is a good start in the right direction, because that stuff happens for sure. So I'm excited to see what happens in next week's episode and beyond. But The Walking Dead is definitely interesting for it. Now, you know, I'm a medical professional, so when I watch things and I look at things, sometimes my realistic approach is like, well, that wouldn't happen, or that person would be dead pretty soon, or it would be pretty crazy to think of it as like, well, you know, the whispers are gross, you know, like. And people share videos on the Walking Dead community page and stuff, and that's good. But ultimately, the whispers are gross. The skin mask suits are gross. They're pretty far-fetched in my eyes that they are basically invincible and, you know, invisible to the different walkers all around them too. So it's like, I don't really know if that's something that we have to believe 100%, but we have to, right? We have to believe that Alpha and the Whispers and the Walkers will never attack a Whisper that has a Whisper skin mask in this universe. Is it far-fetched? Sure, for sure. Especially if someone has half a face on there. Like Beta's chin and everything is exposed, but they don't seem to mind with that. And if you have sweat and blood and stank on you, how do the walkers find people? Like, do they just smell them? Do they see them? What are their senses that actually work? I kind of wish they talked about the walkers a little bit. There was a little more science behind it. It just probably would have been cool to have, and they don't have to by any means. They don't have to talk about the start of the zombie apocalypse. They don't have to start about a cure. They don't have to talk about vulnerabilities. They don't have to talk about what works, what doesn't. They can do whatever they want in the world of Walking Dead, and they do, for sure. So ultimately, The Walking Dead is something that it's own way, its own universe, but some things are a little far-fetched for it. And, you know, that's okay, but I can't help to bring it up. And in my review I just did that I'll post later tonight, it's like there's some things in this episode, season 10 episode 10, that I'll talk about in the review, and I'll talk about the last half hour. But it's like, man, you know, I don't know about that. But we're going to see some characters. Overall, season 10, episode 10 is interesting. It's a very good episode. It's kind of another dark episode, literally. It's tough to see some of the things that are going around because it's at night and there's not the best lighting. And I understand what they're trying to do, but sometimes it's tough to see what exactly happened to a certain character too. So I'm not sure with it. But overall, season 10 is, you know, rocking and rolling so far. It's crazy to think that after tonight, We have 6 episodes left. It takes forever to come here, right? Like over the break, December, January, late February. Now we're in March, and it's crazy because it's going to be over in after tonight, 6 weeks. And then we'll have The Walking Dead World Beyond. I know some people are asking for my trailer breakdown of that. I already did it. I'm going to post it this upcoming week, The Walking Dead World Beyond. And to be honest, I'm kind of interested in that show. I think it has the possibility of being something great because of the CRM connection. If there was no CRM connection, it's another Fear the Walking Dead to me. And Fear the Walking Dead has more misses than hits. It's something that I don't know. But ultimately, we'll have to see, and that starts in April. So, Gary Page, do you think Rick could come back in a flashback from Michonne? Last episode, they could bring back Carl too. I hope so. So, I talk about that in my Michonne video, or one of my Michonne videos, that, when we had the Rick goodbye episode, or episodes, because it was kind of like 2 episodes that connected, but the last episode, there was nice callbacks. There was nice flashbacks. There was nice hallucinations. Like, it was nice to see Shane, Herschel, Sasha. It would have been cool to see Carl. It would have been cool to see, somebody along the way for it. Do I think it's going to be where Rick shows up? I would love to see that. I don't know what they want to do. Ultimately, if she gets taken away, I don't know why she would have flashbacks. Because Rick was having them because he was losing blood. And he was thinking about his family and finding his family and probably, in and out of consciousness and the brain, whatever. I've never been in that situation, so I don't know exactly what's happening. But ultimately, he was hallucinating things and seeing things and just dreaming and going in and out of consciousness. So he was seeing his past and seeing things, how they were done differently and what they would have been. It was crazy. So I don't know if Michonne's not wounded or bleeding or basically having a Rick Grimes way out. I don't know why she would just have flashbacks. Now, what they could do is have Easter eggs to Michonne's hood over her head with the 2 Walker pets, and then she has that. We already saw that in the trailer, so she's going to do something like that. That's pretty cool. Maybe she sees a Walker that has, a badge or something, or maybe she finds a badge at the naval base. Maybe she finds a cowboy hat or a sheriff hat there. I think more like that stuff makes sense, where she's at the naval base and it's an island where she can find stuff that's their military related. Maybe there's something there. Is it going to connect with her possibly seeing Rick down the road? I hope so, because if Michonne's gone, 2 things. She either dies or she's taken away somewhere. Or I guess she goes away on her own. But why would Michonne ever leave Judith and RJ and Daryl and Carol and everybody with the threat of the Whispers? That's a pretty big threat. Even if there was no threat. Even if everything was great, the sun was shining, they got more food than ever, they have weapons, they have everything, no threats, no people, no nothing. It would still be weird if you left your kids to go on a boat or a plane or a helicopter or a train or whatever to go miles away from your kids. It would just be weird, right? So we have to see what happens, if it makes sense or not. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. There's been some early reviews of things, and we don't know what to believe. And, there's going to be people on channels, probably people watching this thing right now, that are going to be on the chats, and they're going to comment, oh, I saw this, and there was a helicopter, and there was this scene, and this was filmed, and that was there. We don't know what's true or what's not. Maybe all of it's true. Maybe none of it's true. Maybe some of it's true. But we'll have to see when it happens. And I love talking about it, but there's so many channels and people on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and everywhere that are trying to get you to watch their videos to say, confirmed information, confirmed, this is that, when it's a theory, when it's just a theory, when it's speculation, it's that, and they're trying to make you think about it to go look at that like they have inside information and you want to come to my channel and come do this. Now, if you're doing that, it's misleading and, you're not going to have much credibility in my book on there too. But again, I don't watch other channels. I don't care about other Walking Dead channels at all. Other YouTubers, I don't mind some of them. Some of them, I don't agree with what they do. But ultimately, that's neither here nor there. Ultimately, we're part of the Walking Dead community. Everybody here, even the people on YouTube, other channels, we're part of the Walking Dead community. Hopefully, we can all get along and be a big part of it. But, Rob K, Q&A, wouldn't the Whisperers be contracting diseases very easily because of how they live? For sure. I mean, so last episode, the craziness with Negan and Alpha, be that as it may, whatever you want to say. If you thought it was good, bad, hot, gross, disgusting, whatever. But the fact that Alpha went to the bathroom, she's either going number 1 or number 2, and she didn't wipe. How are they wiping? With leaves? Come on. That can't be very hygienic. Can't be very good. Universal precautions. I don't see any soap around there. Wash your hands, right? Now, in real life, we have to deal with flu, the coronavirus, this thing, bacteria infections, all the other things. And if you're living in the same clothes, the same underwear, the same shirts, the same Whisperer mask, and you're sweating, and you're not really taking showers, you're not really bathing, you're not really taking care of yourself, it's pretty gross, right? We've all been somewhere and someone stinks. Whether you're in a store, you're on a bus, you're on a train, you're on a plane, you're at work, you're at somewhere, and someone smells bad. I don't know how long they haven't bathed, if they have bathed, what's taking her, or whatever, but it's gross. And I would assume they stink and the whole Whisperer camp smells really bad. Now, they could maybe bathe in lakes and maybe take care of themselves, but you're just basically washing yourself with water. You need soap, and I don't see any soap or on there too. So, and then they're working in the woods. They're, taking animals out. They're, cutting them up and cooking animals. So you're like, all right, what's going on with that? I don't know, but I would think so. And, it's kind of interesting. Like, I was thinking about Alpha and, the whole Lydia Alpha parent situation, where they were. We saw the backstory of it. And how did Alpha really get this way to manipulate people and have a way to make people think that they need to join her and listen to her and do whatever, right? I mean, yeah, it's so many years in the zombie apocalypse, but she has a big group, right? She's been on a big way that it's one of those things where you're like, does she have, a master's in psychology and she knows how to trick people to think like that? Does she know how to make people think that they need her? Does she know how to basically brainwash people? I don't know. But, was she a survivalist type person? Was she one of those people that would live in the woods and go camping and know how to do that and put away technology and stuff? I don't know. It's just wishful thinking to understand, and maybe a little bit more of a thing. But some of the backstories of these characters is kind of lacking if you think about it too. Like, we don't really know that much about certain people. You find out a little bit here and there, find out that Yumiko was a lawyer, and you find out that Ezekiel was a zookeeper, and you find out, that Carol was in a bad marriage, and, Andrea was a lawyer, and Daryl didn't do anything. And, there was like, Rick was a police sheriff, obviously. So you're like, man, it's kind of crazy. So it's one of those things where you're like, did they just come together and, just happen to be Glenn was a pizza boy. He's a deliver pizza driver, but it was crazy to think that I don't know what's going to happen with the future of the show. I don't know how many more seasons are going to happen, what's going to be the end game for it. But ultimately, season 10 is a good step in the right direction. I can't wait to find out why. I can wait to how it ends because I want to see how it ends, but then it's over and then we got to wait. But how are they going to set things up for the Commonwealth? How are they going to set things up with Stephanie and Eugene and all these things going forward? Because I don't know what's going to happen after they get to the point where the comics end. It's wishful thinking to think they can continue on and on and on and on and on, but how much longer can they do? Maybe a season more, maybe an abbreviated season? Sure, but I don't see it being like 20 seasons. I mean, maybe you get to season 12 and they use up the comic book stuff and you're like, what are we going to do? So Hydro, do we find out what happens to Magna and Connie in tonight's episode? No, they're not in the episode. They're not really mentioned in the episode. They're not really anything. So there is no correlation with that. We don't see them. There's no connecting point with what happened in season 10, episode 9 with that. Besides, Daryl, is still around the area and stuff. But again, I'll go for a couple more minutes before I'll talk about the spoilers. So ask some non-spoiler questions and whatever. But we'll talk about that. Ultimately, season 10, episode 9, I thought was good. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. Some people just, you can't do any right. And then other things that can't do anything wrong. So I don't know what's going to be the end game for people. I think season 10, episode 9 had 3.5 million viewers. And that's pretty good, barring that we have AMC Premiere now, that you can watch it 2 days earlier. And I don't know if you watch it on Friday and then you watch it live again. Maybe some people do. And I don't even know if that's 3.5 million households, 3.5 million TVs, because there's people that go to Nick and Norman's and watch it there. And maybe they have like 50 people watching it there. That's not counted, right? But ultimately, AMC, I think, is making a ton of money with this show. Even though I know they're doing something now. Something's coming up with the lawsuits, with the situation with the showrunner, the first showrunner. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, if it's going to matter. But ultimately AMC is a company and they have a lot of money invested in AMC Studios now in, Georgia, and they want to film movies and spinoffs and a lot of stuff towards it. So it's a business. So they have to have that going forward. They need to make money and enough revenue. And, I just hope the show can always be what it is. It's real good. So L Bad Beat. What's on Negan's bandaged arm? It's always bandaged. The comic artist drew that, and it's been there, and they put it on there too. They say it's a thing with Lucille. It was a thing so he wouldn't get scratched, and put it on there too. But Charlie Adlard, when he drew Negan, he put that on there, and so they have it for that. And they just try to make the characters on the show look like the comic characters as much as they can. And overall, I think they've done a really good job for sure. So Jeannie asks or says a good point here. I hope nobody dies in the Look at the Flowers episode. I hope it's about the phrase as the coping method it's meant to be. So, that's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about Look at the Flowers, and a lot of people are saying that's when Alpha dies, or that's when Carol kills Alpha, or that's when Carol kills Lydia, or that's when this happens on there too. So, Look at the Flowers can mean something different now. It was way back in season 4 that was said. It was what Minka said to Lizzie about the flowers in the room to calm her down in the prison. And then it was uttered later to Carol said to Lizzie when Lizzie was taken out by Carol to make her look at that, to distract her, to calm her down, and then had to put her down. It's a shame, but I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what it means for the show. I don't know if it's going to be the same meaning for it, but we'll see what happens. And either way, I'm super excited to see, and that should be, in a couple weeks that we'll see that. But there's a lot of craziness going around with the episode titles, episode synopses, and it's one of those things where I'm not sure if we're going to get a big death at the end of the season, or what's going to happen with different things for setting up season 11, if we're going to lose somebody in the tower episode, if it's even called the tower episode, if it's the water tower death, or what. So Dr. Smarty Pants, thank you for the super chat. Do you think the Walking Dead universe could continue past the main show? Also, will you still be watching Fear the Walking Dead this year? Dr. Smarty Pants, thank you. Great name and picture there, Eugene. I don't know what's going to happen with the Walking Dead universe when the main show ends. That may be it may start with the main show and then end with the main show. I'm going to watch Fear the Walking Dead season 6, and then I'm going to watch it probably till it's done. I don't know when that's going to get done, but hopefully they have something connecting point there. I'm going to watch The World Beyond, and they blatantly say it's a 2-season story. It's only 2 seasons, The Walking Dead World Beyond. But what if we like it? What if we like the show? What if it's like really good? Are they going to have another show with it? Is it like so subtle that they're like, you know what? We're going to put 2 seasons for it for sure. If it's going to be better, we're going to continue on. If it's going to be this, we're going to merge it. we're going to, end it. But what if we start to like Hope and Iris and Elton and Silas and, Huck and Felix and those characters? What if we start to like those characters? And then they just end it. I just think they shouldn't have said anything and said, 2 seasons, and that's it. But we'll have to see what happens for it. But ultimately, I'm excited to find out. I'm going to watch The World Beyond. I'm going to watch The Walking Dead and watch Fear the Walking Dead. But this is the Walking Dead year, Walking Dead came back February 23rd. And then I believe it's going to go all the way to November, December. It's pretty crazy to think that The Walking Dead is going to be the year of The Walking Dead. And that's pretty awesome stuff when you think about it, because I'm excited to think about what's going to happen with this universe. And it's a nice escape. Sometimes it's a little much. Sometimes it's one of those things where we read too much into it, or maybe I do too. But, I can't help but to be a part of it. And does the show want to be real? If there's such a thing of fiction or realistic, or is it going to be crazy? Is it going to be, campy? Is it going to be crazy? Is it going to be interesting? Is it going to be one of those things where like, wow, that could really happen? I personally like the idea of being like, wow, that could really happen. And, realistic approach too. So Xmas Girl 304 Q&A. Do you think who let Negan out will end up being a plot hole? So do you think Who Let Negan Out will end up a plot hole? I hope not, because I could see The Walking Dead just not answering that, just not telling us anything. I could see that happening. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I hope we find out that it was Carol or Daryl. And if Negan takes out Alpha, he says the line. If you follow me on Instagram, I have that picture on there too. And he says, wait till Rick gets a look at you. But Rick's not there. So take out Rick and insert what name? What do you think? I would assume that's going to come to the show. It's a pretty big moment on the Walking Dead comics. So, John Rod, what's up? So, thank you guys for taking the time to be here. Spoiler warning, I'm going to get into season 10, episode 10 now. So, I talked about a little different things there too. So, hopefully you guys will check out the book series, Fight For Us, as the proceeds come back to the channel here, as well as the book series, my my zombie apocalypse book series. That's its own story. It's not any connection with any other stories like that. It's its own thing. It's a zombie apocalypse story, and if you love The Walking Dead, maybe you check it out. But no, it's not connected with that story on there. It's its own thing for it. So, but ultimately, let's go, guys. Spoiler warning: season 10, episode 10. So we'll get into it now. So season 10, episode 10 is very good. It's very entertaining. It consists of Alexandria. It's basically an Alexandrian episode. We don't see Connie or Magna. We see Alpha fight Daryl. Well, we see Daryl go after the Whispers. He tries to find another way into the cave. And he kind of finds a way, but then Alpha comes out with a bunch of walkers. And so he takes out some walkers and some Whispers. He fights Alpha. He gets wounded. He wounds Alpha. He gets the knife, the Bowie knife. I said Bowie knife, I think. Or I said the Bowie knife. I forget what I said, Bowie knife. And someone was like, it's Bowie knife. Or Bowie knife. I don't know. Whatever it's called. I think it's a Bowie knife. And it's called, I was like, David Bowie knife. But either way, her knife gets stuck in his thigh. And it's pretty crazy. It's pretty awesome. But Daryl gets tore up. Alpha gets tore up too. They have this moment where it's all set there. But Beta, it starts with Beta going to the RV, motor coach, tour bus, whatever it is. They pick up the seat. They jump in. He jumps into the cave. The match lights up the whole thing again. They love doing that in the first 2 episodes. The match lights is on there. He lights a lantern and walks through tunnels, or a tunnel at least, and goes into Alexandria. He goes through the same grave that Cheryl was in, or at least Dante dug for Cheryl. I don't know what he actually did with the body, but we don't see that. Beta punches through the dirt, pulls himself up, and it's pretty awesome. It's kind of like a horror movie, what it should be with zombies. When you think zombies, you think a dead body, grave, digs its way out. And I'm pretty sure that's the first time and only time we've seen that happen. Even though it's Beta coming out of the grave, it's not the same thing where he's dead and he gets reanimated. He just goes through, he goes in. And I always thought, like, maybe it's a little far-fetched. Maybe it's this. But ultimately, the Whispers have a plan to get the people out of Alexandria. So there's less people around. They make the people at echolocation, which is probably around the radio tower or something. They make the people there call and say there's a walker horde coming their way and they need help. So Father Gabriel, Scott, my guy Jimmy, and a bunch of other people go there. It's less people inside Alexandria. Beta goes into Alexandria. There's not that many people. It's at night. It's dark. It's pretty good. And then he goes into different homes and he's searching for Gamma, because Gamma left the Whisperer camp and went right to the Alexandria. It's pretty funny when Gamma goes to Alexandria with her Whisperer mask on, and there's all these people with spears, and there's like 5 of them, and the guy has a bow and arrow pointed at him, and you're like, it's little Gamma over here, and you're taking all these precautions for Gamma, and Gamma's like, the people went out, they're trapped, they're not doing well. How do we know it's true? How do we know it's this? How do we know it's that? And it's good questions, because she could be lying, could be set up, even though he's been working with Aaron, or she's been working with Aaron a little bit, and they knew, and, you know, Father G, like, knows, like, well, you said that the walkers were going to be there, but then Alpha moved them. Oh, you took them there, but at the same time, they moved them. So it's like, I don't know. And it's kind of like good, because it's like, how do you know you can trust Gamma? We know that we can trust Gamma, but how do they know, right? So, Jim, what will happen to Lydia? You'll see Lydia in this episode. I'll talk about that in a second. I don't know what happens after this episode, but Lydia is definitely in this episode for sure. So, but you got there. Dr. Smarty Pants said, I personally am hoping for a Walking Dead sequel show. I hope so too. That'd be awesome. And Heather Stringfield says, love you, bro. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. And thank you, Dr. Smarty Pants. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much for the super chats. It's always thoughtful and appreciative. I mean, all you guys are appreciated for sure. Hopefully you guys know that and feel that way too. Like, even just the people just stopping by for the live stream, but my Patreon peeps, my patrons, my members, everybody that supports the channel that way, my fighters who read the book series or just come here, I truly appreciate it. You guys mean the world to me, and I can't do it without you. That is for sure. So thank you guys. And Jeannie, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. And I love all you guys as well. Appreciate it. Mark, do you think Magna could sacrifice herself for Connie? That's a good question, Mark. And I don't know. We're not going to find out in season 10, episode 10, but something could happen. Could happen for sure. But so we got season 10, episode 10. So Gamma goes to Alexandria. They walk her in towards the front gate, and Rosita punches her and knocks her out. He's like, you're lying, or whatever. And they put her in the jail cell. And so it's another Whisper in the jail cell. Father Gabriel brings that up when they're talking to her. So Gamma's in the jail cell. There's still blood and whatever from Dante. So they killed Dante. Well, Father Gabriel did. He says it. Dante killed the other Whisper. So Dante, the other Whisper, and Gamma and Negan were in the, jail cell. But Gamma is, talking to them and says that basically builds favor up, because she says to Father Gabriel that Adam, who is Earl's child now, that was with, Tammy Rose, that's her nephew, Adam, is Gamma, who is named Mary in the episode. Mary's actually the TWD Rewards code for tonight. So if you do TWD Rewards, it's Mary, M-A-R-Y, M-A-R-Y, Mary, just like the name. So Mary is named Gamma, or Gamma is named Mary, and she's in the jail cell talking to Father Gabriel, and then they bring her up, and she talks about where the cave is. And Father Gabriel is like not messing around. He's definitely showing good leadership qualities. It's kind of crazy where that character has come from the first time we met him to now. But Father Gabriel says, look, they're cowards. They're scared. Gamma broke. We asked questions. She told us. She folded. It's all an act. And it kind of is. But ultimately, Father Gabriel's not messing around. He's like, if you find them, don't kill them. Cut off fingernails, chop off fingers, do something, torture them basically, and they'll break, and they won't be able to do it. They'll drop the act. They're cowards. Rosita's like, yeah, you're crazy. You're erratic right now. You're not one of those things that's on there too. And Rosita is a big part of this episode too. So towards the beginning of the episode, you see Rosita in bed, and she says something, I think to Father Gabriel, like, oh, it's your turn to check on the baby or take care of the baby. Rosita gets up. She walks into the thing. She turns. It's the part from the trailer. You see the Whisperer, and the Whisperer like stabs down with a knife, but it's a dream. It's a nightmare. It's a hallucination. It's not real. So Rosita is dreaming bad things. Does that mean that bad things are going to happen? But baby Coco is safe throughout the episode. Rosita has some pretty big moments. She does fight Beta. It's an interesting fight. It's a little dark. It's a little crazy in there too. So, sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But then it goes between like Daryl and Alpha's thing and Alexandria day, night on there too. But during the day, you see Daryl find Alpha and the Whispers, and they're kind of just around that water area. Not sure what they're doing with the walkers or whatever. It's weird, but you hear the crossbow go off. The bolt goes into a Whisper, I believe, and I'm not sure who shot it because you never see Daryl with the crossbow. Daryl goes in, kills a walker, a Whisper, does this and that, and then they swing at him. Daryl gets cut in the face and he bleeds in his head, so he can't really see well. So he grabs a branch or something. He's swinging it. He actually stabs it into Alpha's shoulder, like upper chest, shoulder area, and it's crazy. And you see kind of a point of view, Daryl's point of view with blood. He can't really see much. His vision is impaired, but Alpha gets away, Daryl gets away, or Daryl is like fighting, and then Alpha stabs her knife into Daryl's thigh. I think it's his left thigh. And then he gets away, and then you see what happens. But ultimately, they go to a gas station. You know, it's from the pictures that I shared earlier that are in other videos that Daryl somehow gets away. He's bleeding in his face. It's people crazy over there too. It's definitely something that Daryl is trying to stay alive, but he's got this knife in his leg, and he leaves it in there. Alpha is struggling from the wound in her shoulder, and it's interesting because he goes and they find each other, or Alpha goes after Daryl in the gas station. Daryl's hiding. Alpha collapses and sits on some tires. She bangs her shotgun on a wall, and it makes the rattling noise and attracts walkers. I think three walkers. 3 walkers come in the picture. That's in some of the pictures that I showed. And it's crazy because the Whisperer, Alpha, is sitting there. 2 walkers walk right by her. Don't even think about her at all. Another one kind of looks at her and is like, ah. And that's it. And you would think like, well, okay, I see the Whisper skin mask on her, making her, invisible to walkers, we'll go with. But she's bleeding pretty bad on her body, and her shoulder, and her arm. Wouldn't the walkers smell the blood? But ultimately, the walkers don't attack her. They go after Daryl. Daryl takes him out. He has to pull the knife out of his thigh, stab the walker. He kills all the walkers. He's safe, but blood spurts out from an artery, most likely, his femoral artery, where he's in trouble, for sure. And then he's laying there, probably dying. And Alpha's laying there dying. They're talking. Alpha's saying this, and Daryl's like, yeah, you lost Lydia because you didn't love her, and you didn't do this, and that kind of pisses Alpha off. Alpha gets up off the tires. She already took her mask off. She walks, stumbles, falls, and then she collapses there too. That time, later, Lydia comes in. She just found Daryl and Carol in the gas station. She has Daryl's crossbow, her staff, and she comes in. She walks over to Alpha. Alpha's like, are you real? Because she's like, feels like she's hallucinating. She feels Lydia this, and Lydia's like, yes, I'm here, Mama. And she's like, don't call me that. You know that. You know better than to call me that. But Lydia has a chance to kill Alpha right there. Alpha even wants her to kill herself. Alpha wants Lydia to kill her. Alpha's dying. She's not doing well. She wants Lydia to become the new Alpha and take over the Whispers, but Lydia doesn't want that. She's just talking about human being human. They're not perfect. They're human. It's a bunch of different things back and forth because Alpha doesn't see herself as human. She sees herself as, dead as part of the Whisperers. She feels herself as a walker. She doesn't see herself as a human being anymore. And Lydia's there, doesn't kill Alpha, saves Daryl. Somehow they get away. We don't really know. But the next morning, Alpha wakes up, and there's in the carving, it says, "Your way isn't the only way." So either Daryl did it or Lydia did it, and I'm guessing Lydia carved it in there. And I'm thinking, what does that mean? Is she setting up the tone to the other Whisperers? Look, you don't have to follow her. You don't have to do this. Or what is it? But your way isn't the only way. Meaning look, you're not the only option in town. You don't have to do this. There's other people to do that. Being a human being is still who we are. There's a lot of other meanings for it. But we'll have to see what it truly means down the road, I guess. But the Whisperers come somehow and save, Alpha. Alpha's like, I'm stronger than ever. We're going to rain, walkers down them. They're going to scream. They're going to make me laugh. And she just basically says they're going to attack our group, and most likely they're going to attack Hilltop. But that's the whole Daryl Alpha situation on there too. But ultimately, Beta getting into Alexandria is pretty cool. It's pretty creepy. It's pretty good. And he gets into different houses. You see Alfred, who's the guy with Gage and Margot. It's the other guy. I said he looks like Seth Green in a couple of videos. But he's putting on he's part of the Highwaymen. He's putting on a different chest plate of a person that's in there. You see Beta, take out the, candle or the lantern, and then it gets dark. And then I guess he takes them out. And then he walks into another house, and he kills a bunch of people, Alexandrians. And he kneels down. And it's pretty crazy. You're like, what is he doing? He's just sitting there and waiting. And waiting. And it's dark. And it's almost like he's meditating. And then the people he just killed, the Alexandrians that he killed, become walkers. And the walkers go around and they cause havoc inside Alexandria. So that's what he's there to do. Cause problems, but he's also there to get Gamma. He goes around. He does this. Rosita and Laura and a couple people that are there. There's not that many people left because Father Gabriel and Scott and Jimmy and a bunch of people were called away from Alexandria on the call that the Whisperers did, and the Whisperers ended up killing the people at echolocation. It's probably around the radio, or probably around the tower. So let me answer Mark's question here. Mark, Q&A Bri, do you think we meet Princess this season? Yes, I definitely do. I think that's who Yumiko, Eugene, and Ezekiel are looking at and talking with. I personally think that's Princess. I think we'll meet her in episode, I think around 1014, I think is the word, or what I'm guessing on there too. So I think we'll definitely meet Princess at some point this season. But so back inside Alexandria, it's nighttime. Walkers are all around. Beta's looking around. Somehow, Beta gets the key to the cage, to the holding cell that Gamma is in. He goes over to the lock, unlocks it, takes it out, opens the gate. Talks to Gamma, who's in the corner, and Gamma's like, yeah, she's a liar. She's a liar. We don't have to, on there too. And he's like, you trust the Alpha. And Beta's still drinking the Alpha Kool-Aid. He's all about to whisper away. And he's like, step to me. Step closer to me. If you fight, you'll if you don't fight or you come without a problem, you'll die a painless death. If you fight me and you have a problem, you're gonna die a way worse way. Alpha's kind of talking, kind of this and whatever. But Laura comes in and she has her spear and puts it to Beta's neck. And Beta's like, okay. And I guess Laura doesn't kill him because of what Father Gabriel said to do, to torture him, not to do anything. But what happens is Laura puts her spear, tip towards, the back side of it, instead of pushing him into the cage, into the jail cell. But Gamma gets out. Beta kind of goes towards away from the entrance of the jail cell. And then Beta, knocks the thing down, knocks Laura down easily because Beta's like a huge dude and Laura's like the skinny little nothing. Gamma gets away. Gamma gets out. She looks around what to do. And she looks and she goes to a house. She's like, help, help, help. Judith opens the door, which is basically the door that's right above the jail cell or the holding cell. And then Gamma goes in there. And she goes into the same room where Judith and RJ are. So Judith saves the day. But before all this, during the day, there's a nice moment with Judith talking to Gamma like how she did with Negan. Gamma's in the jail cell. Judith is looking down through the window and talking. And she's like, hi. What's your name? And Judith, just being a sweet, innocent girl, just a nice person, and just talks to Gamma. And Gamma says, wow, no one's asked me that in a long time, or no one's ever asked me that or something. And she says, Mary. And she said, they talk and they do all that, and it's nice. So I like the idea of Judith and Mary having a nice moment. And they talk about it. And basically Gamma or Mary says that basically her and her sister came across Alpha. And they needed other people to make decisions. And they kind of got caught up in what it was. Judith says, well, if you met my mom or dad, you wouldn't be in that cell right now. You just came across the wrong people. I don't think you're a monster. And it's like a nice moment there too, with Gamma and with Judith. But that's earlier, like before Beta comes in. It's during the day. But Beta knocks Laura down. Laura comes behind Beta and like chokes him. And it's so dark in there. And he like grabs her and like throws her against the bars. And then boom. And you hear like a... And so I guess that was the thing where Beta killed Laura, broke her neck, broke her spine. I don't know. Sorry, I think we're a little delayed on here for sure. So Jeannie says, you've been accused of ripping The Walking Dead off so much, you're starting to say it. Well, yeah, no. My book series are not, connected with The Walking Dead, and, it's its own separate thing, and, copyright stuff and all that stuff. I would never, do that to The Walking Dead. But yeah, so I think we're pretty delayed on what I'm seeing for the chat and on here for the spoilers. But, so Laura gets killed, and it happens like so fast of a thing. And it's so dimly lit that I don't really see like how it happened. It's one of those things where like, what? But either way, Laura gets killed. Beta leaves the jail cell, goes up, and he ultimately knows right where to go in, what doors to go in, right? Boom, goes right in. Goes right into the same door that Gamma went in. He's looking around. It's the scene. It's the same house where he, was looking and before with the body, and he takes his knife out and he walks up the steps and goes there and looks around. Here's a noise, goes up there. He's going to lift up the bed and look under the bed, but he hears the door kind of and go. Walks down the hallway. It's dimly lit. It's kind of like, horror movie kind of thing. And then he goes to a doorknob, try to open it. Boom! Gets shot in the chest through the door by Judith. It's pretty cool. You see the hole there, and you see Judith with the gun. Then the door opens. Beta falls back. You're like, oh, she got him. But Beta goes. Gamma says, go, get out of here. Judith and RJ run away. Gamma looks, does the whole thing like, gotta make sure he's dead. Of course, he's not. Grabs her ankle when she tries to run by, knocks her down. He checks his chest, sees the bullet in like a bulletproof vest kind of thing that protected him. He didn't get shot in the chest. It went into the vest. And then Beta is going to take Gamma, and this is when the Rosita comes in and is like, hey, and she's got her weapon, and they fight a little bit. Beta slashes her arm. They kind of go this. I think she cuts into his stomach. It's kind of hard to see like what happens, but you can kind of hear a little rip. So maybe it's the shirt, maybe it's the flesh, maybe it's the stomach, maybe it's a little bit of both. But Beta's too much of a match for Rosita. Oh, sorry. Rosita isn't really matched up very well, but Beta's too strong for Rosita. And Rosita's down, and he's about to, stab her when Gamma says she has one of Beta's knives to her neck, and it's like, look, oh, stop. Alpha wants me alive. Stop what you're doing. I'll go with you. Next thing you see, Beta and Gamma are walking down a dirt path. Father Gabriel and Scott put 2 and 2 together at the echolocation. Like, wait a second. Why would they come here? There's no Walker Horde. And they realized that it was a setup, that no one's back home, that they're being attacked that way. But then as they're walking back, Gamma and Beta are walking down a dirt path. They come across them. That's who Father Gabriel fires the shotgun at. And before that, he took 2 shotgun shells and put them in a shotgun. So he had two shots left. He uses one to fire at Beta. We don't see Beta get hit, so maybe Beta is okay. I would assume he's there. Gamma is sitting in the dirt, like saved, but Father Gabriel points the gun at her and is like, what were you doing? He's like, well, I don't know. And it looks terrible. It looks like Beta and Gamma are just walking back to the Whisperer camp, and that she was in on it. She's like, no. I was there, and he was coming. He's like trying to there, but then Father Gabriel believes Gamma, and then they go back to the camp the next morning. Scott and Father Gabriel look at the grave that Dante dug for Cheryl. They put 2 and 2 together that Dante did this. This was all kind of a setup. They kind of set this thing up. And then Aaron comes. It's just Aaron. No Jerry, no Kelly, no one else. I would assume they went to Hilltop, but Aaron is there. Hugs Scott, hugs Father Gabriel. They're like, not everyone got out, but they were, he's back there too. So I'm excited to see what happens in the next coming episodes when we get the battle at Hilltop. But Aaron made it back. Rosita is got a bandage on her arm. She's in the back of the trailer thing that they're going to ride with the horses to Hilltop. You see Rosita in the back, Gamma in the back, Judith in there too. Judith's like, so we got room for 4 more. They take Gracie, RJ, like a bunch of people are going to Hilltop. And Rosita says, or somebody says, that they're going to Hilltop to see the doctor there. So I would assume they have the Kingdom's doctor at Hilltop. So we were wondering who's the doctor going to be, The doctor is going to be at Hilltop. And you're like, because Sadiq's gone, so what's going to be? And Rosita says to Mary, to Gamma, like, I'm Rosita. And Gamma says, Mary. And I think she says, I know, or like, nice to meet you, or whatever. Father Gabriel is holding baby Coco and kisses Rosita. And I think he says, like, don't you want to take her with you? And Rosita says, no, she's safer here with you. And they kiss. So I'm wondering if it's going to be the last time that they see each other. Or see each other alive or something. Because it's kind of done in a way that's setting things up that they might not see each other. I don't know. So we'll see. But there's no way to tell just yet. But ultimately, they're going to Hilltop. Like, everybody's going to Hilltop except Father Gabriel, who stays back with baby Coco. We know that Aaron goes to Hilltop because we see the people in the battle photos and the stuff in the trailer. Then we see the whole thing with Daryl and Lydia, who are by the tree, or it's around that same time. I'm blanking on the exact timeline, but either way, it's the next morning. Lydia helped Daryl. Daryl slept most of the day. I guess Lydia patched him up, which I'm like, you had a femoral artery, cut. That's a big deal, So, like, that's pretty crazy too. So, Dr. Smarty Pants, maybe Beta will live on to season 11. I hope so. I think so. I'm going with, my prediction or my theory is that Beta does survive, that the threat of the Whisperers is still out there somewhat, and Beta is still alive. I don't think Alpha survives. I don't think the Whisperers really survive, but I know Beta and a couple Whisperers. Well, I don't know. I think I predict. I hypothesize that I think that's going to happen there too. So I think Beta survives. I think he gets wounded, but he survives. Alpha is there with her whispers. The whispers come and help her. She's like, I'm stronger than ever, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to hear screams, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be these things, and it's, Alpha's like more focused on attacking our group, probably at Hilltop, and that's probably where Alpha sends the walkers and the whispers, and I guess she leads the attack. So I guess she actually leads the attack, and she is probably the person standing next to the people with the flaming arrows, so I guess Alpha survives for that. Well, we just don't know, but Alpha's still alive. But before that, Daryl asks Lydia, did she kill Alpha? And Lydia asks Daryl, if that was your dad, could you have done it? Of course she didn't kill her mother. That'd be terrible. That'd be so hard to do. A person's like, why didn't you do it? Why couldn't you do it? Because, that's your mother. That's your father. That's your parent. You couldn't do that. And it's just so hard to do for that, for sure. So, and then Alpha does her little song. She's still at the gas station, by the way, by her some whispers. And she's like, we're free. We this, we're that, we're free. It's the end of the world. We're the end of the world. And whatever the song is that she came up with, or Beta came up with on there too. So I saw some questions here. So that's really the bulk of the episode. Sorry I jumped around a little bit, but it's a good episode. There's some craziness with the walkers and the this, and why didn't the one walker attack Alpha? I mean, she got the Whisperer skin mask on, but so sorry, I've got it's jumping around on me. I'm trying to answer these questions on there too. So I'll go a couple more minutes, do that. And I'm sorry the super chats, but thank you, Dr. Smarty Pants, for them. I just saw some of the questions now. And thank you, Heather. There too. All the super chats are always welcome, and just the questions for that as well. Someone asked me about when Maggie returns The Walking Dead. We don't know exactly when she's going to return, but I think the worst case is season 10, episode 16. The best case, maybe a couple episodes before that, season 10, episode 14 or 15, but probably the finale at the latest. But she'll be back this season, I would assume. Sorry, James. Q&A, do you think if someone other than Carol kills Alpha, that's got the arrow on it, will remain crazy? The Alpha Carol will remain crazy like she is this season because she didn't do it herself. Great question. I don't know. I personally think that she does want to do it. She wants to be the one responsible for taking out Alpha. But if Negan does it, and Negan, brings back Alpha's body part to show that she's gone, there's no coming back from that. I don't know how she's going to take that. That's a great question. I mean, Carol needs to have some aha moment or some win where she stops being such a detriment to the group and team family on there too. Also, she doesn't need to be around Alpha. She doesn't need to be out where she's being, risky for it there too. So, Smilebird9, imagine if Rick would be inside the house Beta was in, Rick's and Michonne's house, and pointing a gun at him asking, do you have any idea who I am? Yeah, I mean, that would be crazy. I wonder how it would be different if Rick was still on the show. How awesome would it be if it was Rick and Alpha having those moments instead of Daryl and Alpha? Now, Daryl's great and Norman's great, but Daryl's not Rick. And it's just not the same character. It's just not the same thing. Some of it seems a little forced. When in doubt, give it to Daryl. But ultimately, I think the Daryl storyline's working out fine. I think it was pretty good too. So, I saw another question for it. Yenzi, Q&A, what episode do you think Alpha will die? I don't know now. I mean, it might be season 10, episode 12. I thought it would be around 13 or 14, but it could be season 10, episode 12 now, since they kind of move things around. Xmas Girl, do you think Carol will feel angry with whoever kills Alpha if she doesn't get to it? I don't know. I think that Carol just wants it done and settled, and that's a good question, though. I don't know how she would feel. I just know that she needs Alpha to be gone. And I personally think that she would love it if she was responsible for it. And now she can rest either way. But something's got to happen. I just don't see Carol dying like this. But if she does, I could see it happening, with the whole contract stuff on there too. But we'll have to see how it goes. But thank you guys. I went over a little hour on there too. Sorry for the buffering and the problems on there too. But ultimately, thank you guys for taking the time for being here. Enjoy tonight's episode. I'll have my review later on tonight. I'll post it around 10 o'clock, around that time. I know it's Walking Dead, some other show, and then Talking Dead. Again, Talking Dead is so late, but the guests are Thora Birch, who plays Gamma, or Mary, however you call it, but Gamma. Denise Huth is executive producer on there, and the guy Nico Tortorello, something on there, but he's Felix on The Walking Dead World Beyond. So why are they bringing that character on Talking Dead? You don't want to bring someone else there? You didn't want to bring, Christian Serratos or something? I don't know. But ultimately, maybe no one else wanted to do it. But either way, we have 3 people on tonight. Gamma survives. So the other thing I want to put out, this will be my last thing. When somebody is on Talking Dead and they're clearly shown on Talking Dead, like Thora Birch is, Gamma, they're usually safe. It's usually when they do and special guest. Special guest usually means that character died. Not always, but usually. So if we know that person's going to be on the show, they're usually pretty safe on there. So Gamma's definitely safe for tonight. But thank you guys for watching. Be back next Sunday for sure for my live stream. Thank you guys to everybody for taking the time to be here. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you to all my patrons, my members, my subscribers, and people just checking it out. But remember, guys, with hard work and dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it. It's about love, support, staying positive, making memories, staying true to yourself, blocking out the haters. Enjoy tonight's episode if you haven't seen it. I have my review up tonight. I'll also do a breakdown probably Monday for the trailer for Season 10, Episode 11. Thank you guys for watching, and see you.